Alaska, November 17, 1986. Japan Airlines Flight 1628 is carrying cargo from Paris, France to Narita International Airport near Tokyo. The three-person crew is led by Captain Kenju Terauchi, an ex-fighter pilot with over 10,000 hours of flight time. As the 747 approaches Anchorage, Captain Terauchi notices two strange lights out of his cockpit window.
It's dark. It's very early morning before sunrise. These lights are clearly maneuvering. They are in relationship to each other. One is on top of the other, and they move directly in front of his aircraft. Now, he's flying at about 500 miles per hour. These things are pacing him.
Captain Terauchi realizes the lights are strange oval-shaped flying objects, and they're getting dangerously close to his aircraft. As bright lights fill the cockpit, Captain Terauchi radios the Anchorage Air Traffic Control Center and asks if they can identify the objects near his plane.
Anchorage Center, they're turning around 1628. Pick up Heavy traffic, Federal Cook, Japan 1628 Heavy, negative. Japan 1628, Roger, and we inside 2 traffic, about Japan 1628, Roger, can you identify the aircraft? We are not sure, but we have traffic inside now.
As Terauchi attempts a series of evasive maneuvers to avoid a potential collision, the two UFOs suddenly disappear. In their place is another object, one so large it dwarfs the 747.
His words for describing it were gigantic spaceship, the size of maybe 2 aircraft carriers, just immense. Terauchi sees this massive thing in the sky, and he's scared.
Concerned by Captain Terauchi's report, the air traffic controller calls NORAD, the North American Aerospace Defense Command, based at Elmendorf Air Force Base in Anchorage. Communication specialists at the airbase confirm that there is a very large, unidentified object on their radar screens.
Traffic control told them that they could actually take whatever evasive actions they needed to avoid collision, and they even dropped down to 4,000 feet above sea level, and the thing continued to follow them.
Air traffic control diverted another commercial flight to come look at this UFO, and by the time they got there, UFO was completely gone.
One of the reasons why the JAL report is such a big deal is because the corroborating evidence is overwhelming. Not only are there eyewitness reports, but there's the records of the communication systems that Terauchi was in touch with. Actual dialogue that happened. Hey, we are up here. We see this. Are you guys seeing this on your radar? All this stuff is recorded.
Once safely grounded, Captain Terauchi, his co-pilot, and flight engineer were immediately interviewed by Alaska Federal Aviation Administration officials and other special agents.
There's an FAA investigation into this. There's lots of documentation. There's no real hard and fast conclusion about this. And so the pilot, perhaps out of frustration, talks to the media.
In December 1986, 1 month after the encounter, Captain Terauchi contacted Kyoto News and said he believed the mysterious crafts were of extraterrestrial origin. The unauthorized statements prompted Japan Airlines officials to remove Captain Terauchi from pilot duty and assign him to a desk job. Around the same time, John Callahan, the FAA's Division Chief of the Accidents and Investigations Branch, learned of the incident and deemed it worthy of investigation.
John Callahan went to D.C. about this, and there was a meeting that was chaired by one of the top people of the FAA. This meeting was also attended by representatives of the FBI, representatives of the CIA, and representatives of President Reagan's White House. They had audio tapes that were played between the pilot and air traffic control, describing everything that was happening, and written reports. And at the end of the meeting, one of the CIA agents stood up and said, "This meeting never happened, and we're confiscating all of the data that has been shared here."